Hello and welcome to part 4 of our Hello World tutorial. In this part we will be manually testing our demo. So as you develop features you're going to want to test them, and we are going to show you how to do that both against our simulated backend and against our cloud backend. So let's start by going to GPF settings and making sure our backend type is simulated. And when it's simulated, these settings down here, SimCloud account, they are in play, which means we have the power to create profiles while we test. So here we're saying we're going to create a new profile called me. New profile is checked off, and it's going to save progress. So let's run through. So as we can see, it says what's your name, which it's supposed to when you're at a fresh state. We hit this button, it says hello world. Perfect. Now if we look at under our project, at the same level of assets, you'll see a test accounts folder. We have a profile called me, and we are going to run it again, and we're loading me, but this time we're not going to run it as a new profile, and this is going to let us run from the state we left off. And let's do that. So it's already at Hello World. And this is actually an extremely valuable feature because it will let you have profiles for different player states. You might have a profile for a player that's been playing, for 2 years, and another profile for a player that's at a certain level and decided to go down one quest path or another. And that's going to really help you manually test. And that's another reason why our simulated mode is so powerful. However, you also need to test against our actual remote cloud. You can't do everything against the simulated if you want to make sure that the software is working right and is going to work right in production. So choose cloud, and then let's clear our remote database. It's going to take a little time, and as it's working, I want to just take note of the fact that we have our Data Store Explorer up here. So that's going to tell us what the server objects look like, regardless of what's going on with the UI. And now we can click play. And we've started from our initial state. What's your name? We click the button, hello world. And if we stop the game and start it again, we will have we expect to start at the hello world state, because with server objects their state is always persisted and progressing, so it starts at the hello world state. So if we had to test this again, what we'd want to do is actually clear the database again, and then when we test it, it would start at its initial state again. So it's a little more tedious to test with an actual live backend as opposed to the simulated backend, but that's what you have to do in order to have some assurance that it's going to work in production. But as far as reproducing issues, that's where the simulated backend and our ability to create profiles and even hand off profiles as reproducibility cases, that's when that's really strong. So yeah, just wrapping up, you're going to want to test it against the simulated backend and use profiles, and you're going to also want to test it against the cloud backend. And you're going to, if you notice that you do have bugs, one great way of dealing with that is to look at your data store. And if your data store is correct, that means you have a bug on the view side. It could be the view binding, it could be how it was hooked up. If your data store is not correct, now you have the problem is on your server object side, and you can go and use the profile tool, for example, the trace diagram tool, for example, to go look at that. And so Data Store Explorer is also a very strong tool for manual testing. All right, thank you so much.